So it's Baby Loss Awareness Week. And, it's not the easiest topic we've ever tackled,
Yeah.
but it's definitely something that needs our attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're diving into, a couple things with this one. What this week means, for families all over,
Mm-hmm.
and why someone like, Princess Kate, why her speaking out actually makes a difference.
Yeah, I think it's a time, obviously for support, raising awareness.
Right.
And also for kind of like, accelerating the pace of research and then improving care for the people who need it.
Totally. And speaking of awareness, like tonight, it's going to be a big night, right? The Wave of Light event.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? People all over the globe, 7 p.m. their time, lighting a candle.
It's such a powerful, visual,
Yeah.
It's a reminder that baby loss, it's a shared human experience. Doesn't matter where you're from.
It's universal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of, things that are kind of global, we got to talk about Princess Kate because her marking this week, it's like making news everywhere for good reason, right?
Right.
She shared a message on social media.
Sure.
And there's a lot to unpack in just these few sentences. She says, and I've got the quote here, Baby Loss Awareness Week is such an important moment to support those who have experienced the devastation of baby loss, sending love, strength, and hope to anyone affected. -C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You caught the C at the end.
It's signed, right? It's personal.
That's huge. That's Catherine signing as herself, not a, PR team, not a royal spokesperson. It's her.
Yeah, exactly.
And the words she chooses, love, strength, hope, it's simple, but it just, it hits you right here.
It does, especially when you, remember her work, with moms with maternal health stuff.
Absolutely.
That visit back in 2020, the Institute of Reproductive and Development Biology.
Right, exactly. This isn't just a one-off for her.
Yeah.
She's truly invested in understanding these things. Pregnancy, early childhood development, the whole picture.
And there's a photo she put with this message too. It's a candle, it's burning.
Okay.
But there's more to it when you really look.
Oh, you're picking up on the details, I see. What do you notice?
Well, for one, the brand,
Oh.
Clement Ashby,
Uh-huh.
it's British.
Right.
Maybe a little nod to, local businesses. I don't know.
Right.
But what got me was the jar. It's got the Wave of Light label on it.
It's like she wanted every single thing about this to, to connect with people who've been through this, but then also to bring awareness for everybody else.
It's true.
The candle, the timing, that personal touch from her, it all fits together.
Yeah, it does. And that visual, you think about all these families all over it, all dealing with this. It's a big thing.
It is. And it reminds you, even people who seem, untouchable royals, they go through this too.
It's true. It's true.
Sadly, there have been, a few royals who've actually talked about this, about losing a baby.
Yeah.
Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh.
Right.
She had an ectopic pregnancy back in 2001.
Right. And that's, for those who might not know, that's when the fertilized egg, it implants outside the uterus.
Exactly.
Super dangerous and just heartbreaking, obviously.
It is. And it shows that, pregnancy loss, it can happen so many different ways, each one with its own, unique challenges.
Totally. And then there's Zara Tyndall.
Yeah.
She's been so brave, sharing her story about having 2 miscarriages.
It takes a lot of strength to talk about something so personal and painful,
Oh, it really does. It really does. And then, of course, how can we forget
Right.
Meghan Markle's essay back in 2020? So powerful, so honest about her own miscarriage.
When these women share their stories, I think it helps everyone.
For sure.
It breaks down that stigma, it lets other people talk about it more openly.
It's true. It's for so long, this has been something people they don't talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't help but think how many people are out there suffering in silence, thinking they're totally alone in this.
And the more we talk about it, the more normal it becomes, right?
Exactly.
It takes away that isolation for those going through it.
100%.
Yeah.
And, thinking about Kate again, knowing these stories are in her own family,
Right.
it's you can almost feel how much she wants to use, her position to help.
Yeah, and it gives what she says that extra layer. She's not just talking, she gets it.
Exactly.
She's saying, I see you, I hear you, you're not alone. It's powerful.
It's true. And knowing Kate, it's not just about talking, is it?
Right.
She wants to do something, make a real change.
Absolutely. And this is where her early years thing comes in.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
So it's all about the importance of, how a child develops from pregnancy all the way through those first 5 years.
Yeah, because what happens in those early years, it's it affects everything else.
Right, exactly. And more, the research is showing that those early experiences, they have a huge impact on their health throughout their life, even future pregnancies. It's all connected.
So it's like Kate's pushing for a total approach, which makes sense with something this complicated.
And indirectly, it's addressing those early foundations of what makes a pregnancy healthy.
Right.
Which could actually help prevent baby loss in the long run.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've talked about Kate's message, the timing with this week, how many people this affects. But just knowing about it, that's not enough, is it? What's the next step? What can we actually do?
That's the big question, right? Awareness is huge, but it's just the beginning. We got to turn that awareness into real change. And that's really what this WILT is about, Baby Loss Awareness Week. It's about pushing for more research into why this happens and making sure families who are going through it are getting the care they need.
So what does that look like, practically speaking? Like, what kind of breakthroughs are we talking about?
Well, there's some amazing work happening right now with genetics, understanding the placenta better, looking at pre-existing conditions.
Okay.
Researchers are making progress all the time.
That's good to hear.
And it's not just the, physical stuff either. Mental health support for families, that's huge, and it's getting more attention.
Which makes sense because the emotional impact, it's immeasurable. Nobody should go through that alone.
Exactly. And there are organizations doing amazing work.
Yeah.
Like the Baby Loss Awareness Alliance.
Oh, right. Them. Tell me about them.
They've got all these resources, support groups, online forums, info on dealing with grief, even navigating the medical system, which can be a nightmare.
I bet.
Plus, they're pushing for policy changes that actually help these families.
Wow, so they're come at it from every angle.
They really are.
Which you need that, right? Because it's got to feel overwhelming if you're going through it. Where do you even begin?
Absolutely. And this is where, I think even if we haven't gone through this ourselves, we can still do something.
Yeah, that's an important point. You don't have to have lived it to offer support.
Exactly. You can donate to places like the Alliance, volunteer, or even just learn about it. And be there to listen if someone needs it.
Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people avoid these conversations because they don't know what to say.
Oh, I get it.
But even just listening, that could be so huge.
Being there for someone, letting them know they're not alone, that's powerful.
100%. Okay, this has been really eye-opening, I gotta say. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you think people listening should know about Baby Loss Awareness Week or about baby loss in general? It's a lot.
Yeah.
But even small things can make a difference, right?
They really can. And that's what I hope, people take away from this week. We can all choose to be empathetic, to learn, to support people who are hurting.
So well said. This whole deep dive has been, wow, really something.
It really has. And, these conversations, they're tough, but they're so necessary.
For sure. And to everyone listening, if any of this has brought up anything difficult for you, please remember, you are not alone. Okay. There are resources, like we talked about, the Baby Loss Awareness Alliance.
They're ready to help. And never forget, even when you feel vulnerable, that's where the strength is. Sharing your